Welcome to the online services of Matthews Memorial Baptist Church, located 2616 Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue, Southeast Washington, D.C., under the leadership of Senior Pastor, Reverend Dr. Joseph D. Turner. Thank you for tuning in.
Put your hands together and let's give God some praise. If you know it's gonna get better, because God is in control. Yeah. Here we go. Say, people come and people go. And your life has been out of control. You're confused, but don't worry your soul. Because it will get better. It's got to get better. It will get better. Come on. It will get better. Because God place. Find a way within your heart. Come on, hold it close. Don't ever depart. It gets cold. In the night. But you'll be alright. It will get better. It will get better. Come on. It will get better. Cause God is in control. Yeah. Here comes my favorite part. It says what? Whatever you find yourself in, I've learned how to, because I know that God will supply and he'll work it out for my better. Oh, it will get better. It will get better. It will get better. Yeah. Oh, it will get better. It will get better. Better. Hold on, my brother. Hold on, my sister. He's coming now. He'll be right on time. Better. We've been may endure for a night, but joy's coming in the morning. Just hold on.
And clap for your future. Your future is bright while you're standing. 2 Corinthians chapter 12. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 1. Around for me. Can you say that? Around for me. Around for me. Around. Turning around. Come on, let's say that a couple of times. Around for me. Oh, around for me. 2 Corinthians chapter 12. All right. From the New International Version of the Bible, it reads, I must go on boasting, although there is nothing to be gained. I will not go on to visions, revelations from the Lord. I know a man in Christ who 14 years ago was called up to the third heaven. Whether it was in the body or out of the body, I do not know. God knows. And I know that this man, whether in the body or apart from the body, I do not know, but God knows, was caught up to paradise and heard inexpressible things, things that no one is permitted to tell. I will boast about a man like that, but I will not boast about myself, except about my weaknesses. Even if I should choose to boast, I would not be a fool, because I would not be speaking the truth, but I refrain So no one will think more of me than is warranted by what I do or say, or because of these surpassingly great revelations. Therefore, let the church shout, therefore, in order to keep me from becoming conceited, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, and my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong. Amen. You may be seated. As the musician plays that softly, stand up, Gina. This is my wife. Come on. Let's give God praise. Lady Gina is here. I wanted everybody to sit down so she could stand up and everybody get a good look. Amen. Amen. Ain't that right, Deacon Lee? Amen. All right. Amen. All right. For these few moments, I want to talk about a blessing in disguise. A blessing in disguise. Help me say that, a blessing in disguise. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, people of God, a story is told of a little girl who found a cocoon hanging from a limb of a tree in the woods. She took the cocoon home and placed it in a jar, expecting the butterfly to come from the cocoon. Finally, one day, she noticed that the butterfly was trying very feverishly, as it were, to come from the cocoon, and with great struggle and great difficulty. Can't you see that butterfly trying to escape through that small opening in the cocoon? And so, with her heart, she decided to give the butterfly a little assistance. And so she carefully opened the cocoon and helped the butterfly out, and with ease the butterfly came out of the cocoon. However, the strangest thing happened in that process. The wings of that butterfly had not beautifully blossomed. They were withered and shriveled and uselessly hanging to the side of that butterfly. Because what the girl did not realize is that it is the struggle that is a part of the butterfly's development. And sometimes in our lives, what we don't realize is that part of our development and part of our growth and part of our maturation and part of our maturity has everything to do with the struggle that we have in this life. And so instead of that butterfly being able to fly and to soar, instead of that butterfly being able to do what the butterfly was created to do, it was confined to fluttering around on the ground for the rest of its life. We are no butterflies, but it is the pressure, the trial, the tribulation, if you will, the different changes that we go through in this life that God is using to develop us to be what He has created us to be. That brings us to our text. It is the Apostle Paul, and the Apostle Paul has had many experiences, of which in the first 6 verses of this chapter he says he's had out-of-body experience. He was taken to the third heaven. He had all kinds of visions and surpassing revelations, and Paul in chapter 12 is trying to stabilize his relationship as an apostle amidst a climate where everybody is saying you are not an apostle. And so Paul begins to talk about how he had this experience in the third heaven. He had these visions and surpassing revelations, and then he backtracks and says, I really don't have a reason to boast, because there was given to me a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me. The Apostle Paul says that out of all of the things that I had reason and right to boast about and to brag about, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me. Paul says that the pain that I had has personality. And the pain that you're going through has personality. There are characteristics to the pain that you're going through. Paul tells of this nature and this experience. He describes this torment from the thorn. Have you ever been pricked by a rose? Have you ever had your ears pierced or your nose pierced? You know what it's like to be pricked. And Paul says there was a messenger of Satan, a thorn in the flesh that was given to me. The word torment means to strike with the fist. And Paul says that there was something that was given to me was like being with the fist. No, there was something that was given to me that was literally giving me a constant piercing or a constant beating. Here it is. I was getting a beat down by life. And I wish I had somebody to talk to this morning. That every now and then, as much as you tried, as much as you pray, and as much as you give, as much as you love, as much as you serve, every now and then, out of nowhere, life will begin to pound you and beat you, and life will give you a beat down, and every now and then we will have experiences just like Paul. Maybe it was physical, maybe it was emotional, maybe it was mental, maybe it was psychological. Some scholars suggest that Paul had a severe eye disease. Some say that he was frail and weak in his physical frame. Some say that he suffered from malaria. Some say that he suffered from epileptic seizures. He had a hump in his back, a curvature in his spine. Scoliosis was severe. Some say he walked with a limp. Some say he was short and balding, but whatever it was given to him as a thorn in his flesh, and it beat him down. Whatever it was, it made Paul hurt because it was painful. Let me ask you, what is your thorn? Is it physical? Is it emotional? Is it mental or psychological? Is it relational? Is it your family? Is it your friends? One thing we know for sure is that this pounding was a messenger of Satan. It was a thorn used of Satan but permitted by God. And every now and then God will allow some things to happen in our lives. Yes, it is a messenger of Satan, but God allows it because that pounding and that beating and that beat down will perform the purposes of God. Satan used something to his advantage that was to Paul's disadvantage. But the purpose of Satan was the plan of God. You see, every time that the devil attacks you, God does not resist him. Sometimes, like Job, he says, go ahead, you can touch his body, but don't touch his soul. He will permit the devil to have access in your life. Why? Because God will take the purpose of Satan and transform it into the plan of God. And every now and then, you have to look at your life and say, even though I'm going through, even though I'm crying, even though I'm having a hard time, all things are working together for my good. For those who love the Lord are called to his purpose. You may be going through something like this. Maybe you got a smile on your face, but for real, life is giving you a beat down. You're serving in silence. You know how to smile, grin, and bear it. But I want you to remember that nothing happens without the permission of God. And God will use the plans of Satan to fulfill his purpose in your life. You know, I'm glad that the Bible does not identify what Paul's thorn was, because in this text I can walk in Paul's shoes and insert my own thorn. Let me ask you, what is your thorn? Is it diabetes? What is your thorn? Maybe it's cancer or HIV/AIDS or a weak heart. Maybe you are hypotensive or hypertensive, blood pressure. Maybe, what is your thorn? Maybe it's a child that you held on your knee, now you hold in your heart. Now maybe you are living out the consequences of some past experience years ago. What is your thorn? Maybe it's sickness or distress or depression or loneliness or heartbreak or abandonment or betrayal. What is your thorns? Thorns come in all shapes and sizes. And the very purpose of your thorn is to pierce you, to torment you, to constantly give you, somebody help me say, a beat down. Over and over and over again, and it hasn't stopped yet. You see, we like to think that we come to church at 8 o'clock sharp and we leave at 9:45 dull. We come in with dry eyes and leave with drier eyes, thinking that somehow or another the singing and the preaching is going to solve the problem between 8 and 9:45. And so some problems God can handle, some problems he can deal with, but what about the problem that he allows to persist? What about the problem that you deal with from Sunday to Sunday to Sunday to Sunday? What about the problem that does not get clarified or cured between 8 and 9:45? Because some problems come and go, but some problems have come to stay. And let me ask you, what do you do with the problem that has come to stay? That a healing line won't get you out of, that oil won't get you out of, that a prayer vision won't get you out of. What do you do when the problem has come to stay? And sometimes it hasn't come to stay for a lifetime, but it's come to stay for the meantime. Because just because you're having a problem don't mean that God doesn't have a blessing somewhere tucked away with your name on it. And I wish I had somebody to testify that I got a blessing with my name on it and it's all mine. But in the meantime, what do you do when you got a problem that is going on in the meantime? Some trouble, some thorn, some trial. My pain has personality, but my pain has purpose. Listen to what he says. He says, because of the surpassing greatness of revelations, therefore, in order to keep me from becoming conceited, I was given a thorn, a messenger of Satan to torment me. My pain has personality. It has come because God allowed it, but my pain has purpose because he says the reason why I was given this thorn in the flesh so that I would not become conceited. So I wouldn't walk around thinking I'm better than everybody else. So I wouldn't walk around thinking because of my degree or pedigree that I'm better than everybody else. So that I would not walk around thinking that I'm a bag of chips and all of that. He gave me a thorn so I would not become conceited or arrogant or proud or puffed up or full of myself, so that I would not have a high exaggerated sense of my own self-worth, that even though I might look at myself 5 times in the mirror before I come to church. Touch your neighbor, say, you ain't all of that. Now, if you didn't want to talk to him, you never should have sat next to him. Look them right in their eye and tell them, you ain't got to sit next to me next week, but this morning, I'm telling you, you ain't all of that, because everybody got a thorn in your flesh. And he said it was given so that you would not become conceited. Paul, you spoke 14 different languages. Paul, you were taken up to the third heaven. Paul, you had revelations and surpassing. I wish I had somebody revelation, but I want you to know that this thorn was given to you so that you would not become conceited. And every now and then, and I'm almost done, I'll finish it at 11. Every now and then, God will give us a thorn. Because maybe we know about theology, the study of God. Maybe we know about Jesuology, the study of Jesus. Maybe we know about Christology, the study of Christ. Maybe we know about pneumatology, the study of the Spirit. Maybe we know about ecclesiology, the study of the church. But I wish I had somebody who know a little bit about neology. Oh, y'all come on, talk back to me. Neology is when you're going through hell. Neology is when you can't get no sleep. Neology is when you got pain all over you. You know how to bow your knee and say, Lord, if you don't help me, I can't stay in this storm. The thorn helps us not to be conceited and drives us to our knees. You know how we get full church? Let all hell break loose. I wish I had somebody. You know how we can fill up the church? Let trouble come. You know how we can have a full choir and a full pulpit and a full pew. Just let some trouble show up. he allows it to drive us to our knees. Because there's a tendency to take spiritual things lightly until you start catching hell. Now you want everybody to pray. Pain has personality, pain has purpose, but there's a promise in my pain. He says, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh to torment me and to beat me down. But in such times, God says, my grace is sufficient for you. Oh, thank God for his grace. Thank God for his unmerited favor. Thank God that in the meantime, God gives me something right here until he gets me to there. Thank God for his grace that allows me to hold on when I would have given up a long time ago. Will you testify and tell somebody, I would have given up a long time ago, but his grace is sufficient. And his grace is enough just like I am. Will you tell somebody that his grace is enough just like I am? I don't have to be younger. I don't have to be smarter. I don't have to be more affluent. I ain't got to have no more money. I ain't got to dress better. I ain't got to be any popular. I don't have to be more well liked or appreciated. His grace is sufficient for me. And somebody's been asking you, how you smile when you going through all you going through? Tell them his grace. Somebody been wanting to know how you smiling after you've been in and out. I'm trying not to. When you've been in and out of the hospital, tell them it ain't nothing but his grace. How can you smile when your money is running out and you have no way of getting home? Tell somebody, say, neighbor, his grace is sufficient. I'm trying not to get happy, but I know what I'm talking about. I'm here to tell you that it's not because of my education. It's not because of my degrees on the wall. It's not because of who I know. It's not because of who knows me. But I'm here to testify this morning that it's because of his grace that I am and I have what I have. Come on, you ought to tell somebody, say, maybe it's because of his grace that you are alive this morning. I'm done. Charlie, don't do that. I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. I said, I'm done. Come on. Hey, won't he do it? Won't he do it? Won't he make a way? Won't he open doors? That's enough. I had to get it out. Fanny Crosby, who was blinded at the age of 5, she was given a wrong prescription by her doctor. She lived to be 90 years old, and she wrote over 384 hymns, of which we sing today. Hymns like Blessed Assurance, Jesus is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine. I'm an heir of salvation, purchased of God, born of his Spirit, washed in his blood. This is my story. This is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. Blinded at age 5, lived to age 90. writing songs like, "Pass me not, O gentle Savior. Hear my humble cry. While on others thou art calling." Blind now from age 5. Do not pass me by. And although she accomplished much in her life, God would have not gotten as much glory out of her sight than he did out of her blindness. And so the next time you're going through and you're saying, "Lord, why me?" I want you to know that God has allowed you to struggle so he can develop you. I'm going to read this last verse. I'm so excited. I'm going to read this last verse. The last verse says this: "That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong." Let's stand. I don't know who I'm talking to, but this is something that touches all of our lives. We had the privilege of honoring Dr. H. Beecher Hicks on Friday morning at a breakfast, and he is famous for his sermon and book entitled "Preaching Through a Storm." And one of the most quoted lines in that book is, "Either you are just coming out of a storm, either you are in a storm, or you're on your way to a storm." And I wish I could tell you that though you have lived your life in ease and without exception, no trouble, you've been all right, your children been all right, you've been relatively healthy, I want to tell you that a storm is on the way. Everybody goes through storms. You see, God is like an umbrella. The umbrella doesn't stop the rain from falling, it just ensures that you don't get wet. And I'm here to tell you that God's grace is sufficient. That God has insulated you with this grace. And I don't know who I'm talking to, but maybe you're in a storm right now. Maybe you got a thorn in your flesh. And you had it last week. Same thorn. Last month, last year, same thorn. And you were like Paul, you prayed 3 times on 3 separate occasions. And God's response was, "In the meantime, my grace is sufficient." I don't know when he's going to come through. I don't know when he's going to make a way. I don't know when he's going to let the pressure ease up in your life. I don't know when he's going to beat back the busy hand of Satan and make your enemies leave you alone. But what I do know, in the meantime, his grace is sufficient. Our deacons are in the aisle and our minister up front. if you're here, you say, Pastor, I know everybody goes through, but what's the difference between a believer and a person who is not connected? The only difference between those of us in this building and perhaps you who are visiting is that we have God to help us. And if you want him to help you, all you got to do is say, Lord, help me. So if you're here today, just tell somebody, excuse me, and extend the invitation as the praise team sings. For me, it's turning around. For me.
You've been listening to the online services of Matthews Memorial Baptist Church, located 2616 Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue, Southeast Washington, D.C., under the leadership of Senior Pastor, Reverend Dr. Joseph D. Turner. May God bless you.